I'm JasonRobinhood, and these are the stocks of the day for Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. Okay, so it is currently 5:15 p.m. here in Las Vegas, Tuesday, January 25th, 2022, and we're going to go over the stocks of the day. The Dow Jones, all three indexes were negative today. The Dow Jones was negative 66 points. It currently trades at 34,297. The S&P 500 was down 53 points. That currently trades at 4,356. The Nasdaq was down 315 points. That currently trades at 13,539. The VIX is currently trading at a 31 handle. That was up 4% today. The 10-year currently trades at 1.776. That was down a little bit. And let's see what Bitcoin did today. Let's see what Bitcoin currently trades at. Bitcoin currently trades at 3,600 or 36,000. It was up 500. It's up about $500 today, so it hit above 36,000 today. So Bitcoin is moving in a positive direction today, but the rest of the three indexes were all down today. Not the greatest day. We did have some earnings that does look like it may help us. I know IBM was up. Let's see what happened with Microsoft. I know those earnings went after hours market. Looks like the earnings were down. I don't know. I thought they had a good earnings report, so I guess it's a little disappointing that it's still sold off in the after hours. But that's the market we're in. And in this series, we go over the top 5 best performance stocks from each index. So this series is helpful for long-term investors and short-term investors. The first stocks we're going to go over are for the Dow Jones. As I mentioned, the Dow Jones was down 66 points today, but we did find 5 winners. First stock we're going to look at is ticker symbol AXP, American Express. As you can see, American Express had earnings today, and people bought the stock. This stock is up over 9% today. It did not give any of that back in the after hours market, so that's a really good sign for an earnings season. American Express is up 39%, almost 40%. The past year, I believe that is about maybe double the Dow Jones. I think the Dow Jones is up maybe 20%, right? So American Express for long-term investors is outperforming the Dow Jones. And for the past 5 years, American Express is up 128%. Let me see if it pays a dividend. It pays a 1.08% dividend. Next stock we're going to talk about for the best performance stocks in the Dow Jones is IBM. As I mentioned, we are in earnings season. IBM had earnings yesterday, after the bell rang, and you can see people bought this stock today, so it had a really good earnings report. That's a really good sign that it did not sell off today. We have to see what happened with Microsoft, but IBM was up a little more than 5% today. That's a very good sign. For the past year, it's up about 14%, so it's basically in line with what the Dow Jones is returns. I think it was maybe 20% at the most for the Dow Jones. Maybe it's maybe the low, it's like 14%, because we did sell off a lot in the last few weeks. But for the past 5 years, IBM has not been a good trade. It's actually down 20% for the past 5 years. As you can see, it just seems to never be able to get above this. What number is it? 167, but it seems like the number is more like 151, and you can see that there, 151 there. Let me see, 153 here, and then 151. So that 151 number, if you are a long-term investor, if you are looking at IBM, you probably want to look at the next, what is that, $16 from here. If it could break above the next $16, that would be interesting. Hold on, did I say 16? I think it's 26. $26, I mean, not 16, $26 to get above that 152 number. The next stock we're going to look at for the best performance stocks in the Dow Jones was ticker symbol CVX. Chevron. As you can see, Chevron was up a little more than 4% today. It did not give any of that back in the after hours market. We have to mention that a lot of stocks on the list today are energy stocks. Energy is completely outperforming the market. I know a lot of people do not own a lot of energy stocks, but what you will see on this list, we have a lot of energy. The energy sector is probably the best sector in the stock market at the moment. But Chevron is up 46% the past year. I mean, you see there was resistance here at 117. It seemed like it had a lot of resistance there. But now we have no idea where the resistance is. Let's see if it's past 5 years. Yeah, it's past its 5 years highs, right? Or is it over here? 133. So it's basically in line with that past 5 years high. You have to keep an eye on Chevron this year. It seems like it's in a bull market. And it pays a 4.18% dividend. So that's a very strong dividend for a stock that's up 46% in a year. So that's a very strong chart if you're looking for a strong chart. Next stock is J&J. I believe Johnson & Johnson did report earnings early this morning. Don't quote me on that, but I believe so. This move looks like an earnings move. People bought the stock during the day a little bit in the after hours market. We have to figure out what that's about. I believe that probably be about the Fed speak tomorrow, which we have to go over. For the past year, Johnson & Johnson is only up 1%. So that is that's not good. But for the past 5 years, the stock is up 45%. It's kind of close to about 10% a year. Let's see if it pays a dividend. It does pay almost a 3% dividend. That's a pretty strong dividend. I don't know what happened to it the past year. It does not look like it cannot get out of this range. That 179 number seems like a far away reach, but it's at 167 now. So you probably be, if you are an investor or if you are trying to look into getting into Johnson & Johnson, you want to keep an eye on that 179 number this year. That's only $12 away, so that's interesting. You want to keep an eye on Johnson & Johnson. It is up 2%, almost 3% today, and for the past 3 months, it's almost up 1%. And the last stock we're going to go over for the best performance stocks in the Dow Jones is JPM. JP Morgan Chase. This stock is a part of the financial sector. I believe the financial sector is another really, really super hot sector in the stock market at the moment. So you want to keep an eye on financial stocks, banking stocks, and energy stocks. JP Morgan is only up 10% in the past year. So it's averaging, about maybe 1% gain a month, right? And for the past 5 years, this stock is up 75%, a little more than 10% per year. That's not a bad return for a financial stock. I believe it pays, let's see if it pays a dividend. It pays a 2.55% dividend. That's a very strong long-term chart. And you see the highs. We're not at the highs right now. The 166 number was last June. And then the highs happened last October, 171 number. We're all the way down to 146. So if you're looking at this chart, you probably want to keep an eye on that 171 number. If JP Morgan can get to that number this year, that would be interesting. So those were 5 of the best performance stocks in the Dow Jones. As I mentioned, the Dow Jones was down 66 points today. It currently trades at 34,297. We want to keep an eye on that 34,000 mark, obviously. Hopefully we can stay above 34,000 and try to head more towards 35,000. But a bad day tomorrow, we can definitely slide not only under 33,000, but we could be talking about 32,000. The next 5 stocks we're going to go over are for the S&P 500. As I mentioned, the S&P 500 was down 53 points today, but we did find 5 winners. First stock in the S&P 500 is ticker symbol APA. As you can see, I currently have 2 shares of this stock. This stock was up 8% today. It did not give any of that back in the after hours market. That's a really good sign. For the past year, this stock is in a complete bull market on its own. I mean, it's up 104%, clearly 4 times the S&P 500. I believe the S&P 500 was up maybe 25, maybe 20% last year. But either way, this stock is at 104% since last year. But for the past 5 years, this stock is actually still down 46%. That's interesting. That's worrisome also. But it does look like it bottomed out in 2020, March 27. And since then, it's basically gone in a straight line, straight up, right? So this stock is definitely in a long-term bull market. Probably want to keep an eye on ticker symbol APA this year. I have 2 shares of APA. Next stock for the best performance stocks in the S&P 500 is ticker symbol OXY, right? OXY. Occidental Petroleum. As you can see, this stock was up over 8% today. As I mentioned, this stock is a part of the energy sector. You can see all those stocks moved pretty heavy. This stock did not give any of that back in the after hours market. It's up 75% year over year, about 3 times the rest of the S&P 500. And for the past 5 years, it's kind of traded like APA. You keep an eye, a little worrisome that all these energies charts kind of look the same, but they're all in the bull market at the moment. So you want to keep an eye on that because it seems like if one of them move, they're all moving the same way. So you don't need to buy too many different energy stocks, right? But for the past 5 years, this stock is actually down 46%, just like APA is, and it pays a tiny, 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 almost non-existent dividend. Next stock for the best performance stocks in the S&P 500 is Halliburton. As you can see, I have 6 shares of Halliburton. This stock was up over 7% today. Halliburton did report good earnings, I believe yesterday before the bell. So this is a really good sign, especially for the rest of the market. We are in earnings season, so it's a very, 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 very good sign when a company reports earnings and the next day the stock is up 7%. That's a pretty good sign for the rest of the market. This stock is up 62% the past year. A pretty strong chart. You could see it had problem at 25 or 23 over here, 24 over here, right? Then it kind of broke above that at 26. It seemed like it had problems, but since the beginning of this year, this stock has basically gone up in a straight line. Let's see where it's at. It's up 36% in the past month. So Halliburton is going parabolic. Let's see if it pays a dividend. It pays a little less than 1% of a dividend. 1% of a dividend, 0.63% dividend. Next stock is ticker symbol Fang. Diamondback Energy, FANG. As you can see, Fang was up today. Another stock, a part of the energy sector. It was up 6% today. It didn't really give back much in the after hours market. Wow, this stock is up over 103% the past year. Very strong sign. Basically, kind of the same chart like APA, right? If you think about it, but this chart is actually up the past 5 years, and you can see ever since 2020 it really hasn't met much resistance. You can see some resistance back here in October 2020. Here you have to worry about July 2021. It seemed to have fell a little bit since then, but since August of last year, this chart has basically been in a bull market. You can see it's up 15% in the last 3 months, and it's up 19% in the past month. So if you're looking for a stock that's doing well in this market, if you're a long-term investor, you probably have Fang on your watch list. Next stock is ticker symbol DVN. Yeah, another energy stock. Wow, S&P 500. This stock was up a little more than 6% today. Let's see if this chart kind of is this. Oh, this is actually a different. Wow. This is actually one of the strongest charts. I think it's probably the best chart we've seen all day. This stock is up almost 200% in the past year. Let me repeat myself. This stock is up almost 200% in the past year. Let's see where the stock was at last year, because people don't like buying stocks down here. This stock was trading at $17 a share last year. So if you bought 2 shares of this stock last year for what, about $34, those $34 would be over $102 right now, right? That's a pretty good investment. And for the past 5 years, as you can see this chart, I mean, ever since the bottom in 2020, this chart has not seen much resistance, right? There's no real big pullbacks, a tiny garden variety pullback here, a little bit tiny pullback here. But you can see these bull moves, when it jumps, it just jumps. So this is a stock you probably want to get into. Keep an eye on ticker symbol DVN, and it pays almost a 3% dividend. I don't know how that's possible if you have a 200% return in a year. These numbers don't match, but this is a stock. Am I watching this stock? I don't think I should be watching this. I'm going to add this to my watch portfolio. Even though I have a lot of energy stocks, this stock seems like it's on a completely different level. Completely different level. So those were the best performing 5 best performance stocks in the S&P 500 today. As I mentioned, the S&P 500 was down 53 points. It currently trades at 4,356. Obviously, we want to keep an eye on that 4,300 mark. We do not want to break under that. Some bulls in the market have a high in the S&P 500 or a year-end target for the S&P 500 at 5,100, and we currently trade at 4,300. Just to keep that in mind, that's a lot, almost 900 points higher, right? Next 5 stocks we're going to go over are, the last 5 stocks we're going to go over are the top performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100. The Nasdaq 100 was down 315 points today, but we did find 5 winners. First stock is ticker symbol NTES, NetEase. Yeah, okay. NetEase was up a little more than 3% today. Then give almost 0 back in the after hours market. Unfortunately, NetEase is down 21% in a year. If you're looking at a number you probably want to worry about, you want to get into this year, maybe 115 seems like a number they have a problem with. 114 over here. 114, what is this number? 118 and 119. That seems, let me see where this number is at. 115. So the next clearly next $20 you want to keep an eye on this stock. If it could break above it, this stock can go pretty high, all the way up to like 131. That's a, almost 30% gain from here. You want to keep an eye on that, even though it's down 21% this year or last year, and it's up over 103% the past 5 years. Let me see. It pays kind of a tiny, almost a 1% dividend, so not a bad chart for a long-term investor to keep an eye on, especially a stock up 3% today when the tape was pretty bad, and it's up 1% in a month and almost 1% in the past 3 months. Next stock we're going to check out for the best performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is PCAR, ticker symbol PCAR. As you can see, PCAR, what am I calling it, PCAR? Oh, yeah, that's the ticker symbol. Ticker symbol PCAR, that's the name. As you can see, this stock was up a little more than 3% today for the year. Wow, some of these Nasdaq charts are just not looking good. This stock is down 7% in the past year. Not a good sign. Let me see the number. If you're looking at a number, 95, 94. What number is it over here? 99. 99. So the next $6 you want to keep an eye on this stock if you're looking to get in. For the past 5 years, it is up 42%, almost 50%. Let me see if it pays a dividend. It pays almost a 2% dividend, almost a 1.5% dividend. Not a stock for me, down 6%. The Nasdaq was up about, I think, like 17% last year, maybe even 14%. So this stock is underperforming the Nasdaq 100, but it did have a good day today. Next stock for the best performing stocks in the Nasdaq 100, we're gonna check out ticker symbol BIDU, Baidu. As you can see, Baidu was up a little more than 1% today. Gained a tiny bit in the after hours market. That's a good sign. Oh my, that's not a good sign. What happened to Nasdaq? All these charts are pretty ugly. Baidu is down 42% in a year. You kind of have to worry about that because you could see what's going on. You can see the charts around this time last year is when it started going up, January 29th all the way until February 19th. So these next month, I would say you probably want to keep an eye on Baidu. I don't see the stock getting towards its highs, but the problem with this chart is, obviously it's not going to repeat itself, but clearly this date, February 19th, you want to see what happened if we can get past that date this year. If it starts selling off, you can see the stock was down 42% this past year. Something happened, maybe some earnings report happens in February. If it breaks low next month around this date, you probably want to get out of the stock. And for the past 5 years, this stock is actually down 13%. So this stock doesn't really help long-term investors or even day traders. And it does not pay a dividend. So if you invested in this stock 5 years ago, you would have lost money. Yeah. Next stock for the best performing stocks in the Nasdaq 100 is ticker symbol MAR, Marriott International. Oh, we can't really do this one because you can see it sold off. It was almost up 1%, but it did sell off in the after hours market. Let's just check it out real quick. It's up 27% in the past year. That's actually a really strong sign, right? If you think about all the other Nasdaq charts we saw today were down like 40%, 60%, 80%. This stock is actually up and it's outperforming the Nasdaq 100 by almost 10 percentage points, right? And for the past 5 years, it's up 85%. So this chart is pretty strong chart. Not too many givebacks. You can see when it goes up like here, from here to here, it flew up. From here to here, it flew up. So Marriott International is probably a stock a long-term investor probably should have on their watch list. It does pay a 0.36% dividend. Not a bad chart. One of the best charts we've seen. Clearly the best chart we've seen in the Nasdaq 100. And the last stock we're going to check out today is XEL. Okay. XEL actually did better than, what was that, Baidu? One of these stocks. But XEL, the final stocks we're going to talk about today for the best performance stocks in the Nasdaq 100. XEL was up a little more than half of a percent today. For the past year, underperforming the market, but still positive, plus 5%. And for the past 5 years, up 65%, a little more than 10% per year. Not a bad chart at all. Let's see if it pays a dividend. And it pays almost a 3% dividend. So a pretty strong chart if you're looking for a long-term investment for the Nasdaq 100. And it pays almost a 3% dividend. Let's see if it's in a bull. It's up 1% this month. The rest of the market is pretty negative and down. So this chart is doing pretty good. It is an energy. Let me see. It's energy. So it's a part of the energy sector. Obviously, you want to keep an eye on that sector this year. So those were about 16 stocks were the best performing stocks in the stock market today. Stocks of the day for January 24th, 2022. I'm Jason Robinhood. Did you discover any stocks, any new stocks in this video? Do you have any great performing stocks in your portfolio you would like to recommend to myself or the other viewers of this video? I'm Jason Robinhood. These were the stocks of the day for Tuesday, January 25th, 2022. Stay long in the stock market.